tonight's guest is amazing Betsy Wiersma, who worked for the U.S. Army all over the world for MWR, helping with special events and marketing. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome the Betsy Wiersma. Hi, Betsy. Welcome.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
I am so happy to have you back, and a long time no talk.
I know. You sound great and sound so close to home, and I know you're far away.
Yeah, I am in Korea right now.
Yeah, the magic of technology. Yeah. You sound like you're down the street.
I know. Isn't that wonderful? And I am so happy to live in this world, in this time, you know.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and as you know, I served in the U.S. Army for 20 years, and these days I'm trying to find as many speaking opportunities in the U.S. military as possible to return the amazing favors that military did for me and my daughter. I think I mentioned before, you know, she's a major in the U.S. Army now. And I'm sure you can understand why I'm still so interested in the subject of U.S. military. So before we talk about your big ideas, can you share some of your experiences with the U.S. Army, what you did, and, you know, how long and when and where and things like that?
Oh, sure. Well, you know, it's a good story, and it's such a good memory for me because, as you know, the people in the services, in the Army and the Air Force and the Marines and the Navy are some of the greatest people in the world. Just their heart is first, and they're so service-oriented. So I was giving a speech in Cincinnati, Ohio, probably in about 1992. And for a national organization, I think, in recreation and parks. And a nice lady walked up to me and said, "That was really good. Can you do that for the Army over in Germany?"
Oh.
And I said, "Sure," being 20-something years old, maybe 30, and ready to travel. I said, "Absolutely, yes." And that was the beginning of 10 years that I spent on the road all over the world, traveling to MWR shows and to bases, helping the Army do recreational events for the single soldiers and the soldiers.
Oh, so what was the content? What did you do to,
Oh, we did all kinds of fun things. You know, in the BOSS program, which is Better Opportunities for Single Soldiers, we went around teaching them how to create special events to be fun and recreational. So we taught them, you know, how to have fun and how to organize that fun on all the base levels and all over the world. So we had a lot of things about creative thinking and marketing and strategic use of resources, including sponsors for the local bases.
Wow. I mean, you know, I can really understand, you know, U.S. Army soldiers do need those kind of things and, you know, to raise their morals, and especially being in the overseas and away from their family.
Well, Jen, and you'll appreciate that one of my fun assignments was to come to Camp Casey right there in Korea and to do a full-day training at Camp Casey. And my husband was lucky enough to get to go on the tour of the DMZ and hang out with the colonel and see the cool stuff. While I was, of course, back on the base, you know, teaching all day. So I have great memories of Camp Casey.
Yeah, so you never had a chance to see the DMZ yourself then?
No, I need to come back. I think we need to do a co-speaking engagement there in Korea so I can come back.
That will be super. I mean, I will be happy to be your tour guide here.
Yeah, it was very fun. But, you know, we just really enjoyed, internationally, it was really fun to travel the world and to, you know, we did a lot in Boxburg and all kinds of places around Germany where they had a lot of the European conferences, and then, of course, across the United States.
Wow, that is super. Yeah, I hope we will have more chance to hear more details about that, you know, in person with you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, and also it expanded into helping the Air Force write a community services manual with 5 events. So I'd be happy to help you kind of get connected to them.
Yeah, please. And then, you know, we can go around the world and do the same thing for Air Force, Navy, Marines, and Army, all of them.
Yeah, there's lots of good people that need the inspiration.
Yes, and we really definitely need you about that. And now let's get back to our, you know, topic before we do that. And, you know, tell me, what is a purpose-built life in your own words?
Well, you know, I think this might be interesting to the listeners because many of us, I think, wake up and things change. For me, it was a phone call that I received on July 22nd, 2002.
Wow.
I was in the frozen foods at my grocery store, and on my cell phone came a phone call from my attorney in Chicago here in the United States, and she said, "You're having a baby. Do you want to know what you're having?" And here I was. My husband and I had been trying to adopt a baby for just about 6 months, and we had hired this attorney to try to connect and find us a baby. And sure enough, 6 months later, she called and said, "You're having a baby, and it's a baby girl. And she will be 1 day old tomorrow, and she's up for adoption." And the birth mother looked in the phone book under A for adoption, picked me, the first attorney, and picked you as the parents. Please come to Chicago and get your daughter.
You know, if before you explained about the adoption, people could have pictured, you mean lawyer can tell you whether you're going to have a baby or not, and you don't even know whether you are pregnant?
Right. I'm not pregnant. I'm in the frozen foods, and I was having a baby.
Yeah.
So obviously a very memorable moment for me, and the scream that I let out in the grocery store, I think they thought was a little crazy.
Yeah. And I'm sure the life became a little more challenging and more interesting. And how do you keep on keeping on?
Well, you know, if you can remember the life you have now, going back and forth from Korea, and I had been in Guam and New Zealand and Australia and Germany, and now I needed to be home in Inglewood, Colorado.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, but, you know, my life changed from external focus about saving the world one speech at a time to the focus of really being purposeful about being the kind of mom I want to be and the kind of wife I want to be to create this life for my daughter.
Didn't you have some health issues too yourself?
I have. Just last December, I received my new hip. I have a total hip replacement. So I had a degenerated hip, and so I kind of spent 20 years limping around a little bit. And this past year was able to get that full replacement. So, you know, I had to really pay attention to taking good care of my body now. And so that's, again, part of my purpose-built life, to really put fitness and parenting first, and then a career that needs to fit around those really basic components.
So how old is your daughter now?
She just turned 8 and got her ears pierced. So it's really big.
I think that, you know, even when you are going through the difficult time with the health issues, isn't it better, you know, isn't it so much better to have that daughter next to you and holding your hand and, you know, praying for you? And isn't that, you know, much more exciting?
Definitely. Well, you know, it definitely is a time that I really had to change what I was doing in the world and definitely change how I was doing it in the world. And it really had to shift the measurement of my success, because right now it's not about how much money can I make. It's really about, have I connected with my daughter today, and, you know, is the family running well? Did I get to the grocery store? And how is my camp experience doing as my big career focus? So it was definitely a big shift.
Well, I'm sure there was some change of dreams, too, before you had the daughter and afterward.
Yeah, the shift really was, I've always been concerned about saving the world and helping people, from my speeches, from the platform, from my workshops. So that's always been a focus. But my dream needed to be in Inglewood, Colorado.
Yeah.
And so geographically, God put me in a place where my focus had to be, how do I do this without as much travel, and with, you know, the ability to do it here out of where I live here with my family. So it was really different than, you know, getting to get on a plane and travel the world all the time. I really needed to create something of my very own. Yeah,
and you know, when we come back, we will talk about move into that camp experience. But it's time for, you know, another